It's a new year in the Crew Motorfest, and this week's theme is called Monkey's Kitchen Takeover, and this is my summit guide. Let's go! All right, before we get into it, I just want to let you know I'm filming this before the summit actually goes live. This is done with the early access build that I had. If something changes when the live summit comes out, I will make notes in the comments, so just check the comments before if something looks a little funky, or as you're looking at this now, just go ahead and take a look at the comments just in case there's some notes there. All right, let's get into it. The cars you're going to need for this week are the BMW M2 Beehive Edition and the 2000 BMW M3. This is the brand new M3 that just got released with the Street Riders playlist. It's the car you need to go through that playlist, and you're going to be using it in the summit. And actually, a lot of the summit events are directly from that playlist. There's a little bit of a different vibe because the summit doesn't have like all of the traffic and all of that stuff in it, so it's a little bit more pure. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's take a look at the rewards real quick. For this week, we've got 100,000 XP, 100 prestige tickets, and the BMW Z4 M40i as the gold reward. And then for the platinum, it's the MK tire. This is the Monkey's Kitchen tire. It looks pretty cool. It's just pink and orange, got the same Monkey's Kitchen branding. So, you know, it's a nice little tire. It's a good way to open up the season. I'm excited for some of the rewards later on in the season, but this is what we got for now. All right, here are the pro settings for the two cars that I just mentioned, and then we'll get into the events. All right, the first event is called Welcome to Monkeyfest, and this is using that M3 again. This is a loaned version of this M3, so you don't have to worry about parts. This is pretty straightforward. I think there's a few cuts in it, so let me just get to those. All right, when you get to this airport section here at 15, you want to go a little bit wide, and then you can cut it back in. Just don't hit the parked cars there. At 26%, you can cut after these pallets here, and make sure you cut that corner pretty sharp. You're going to cut this corner as well. Just slow down. You can't really take that corner like super fast either. All right, you've got a choice to make here. You can actually go up and over that jump, or you can stay on the right side. And to be honest with you, I actually missed this, and I might go back and redo this race just to get a better time. But there's a stairway right here on the left. You can use that stairway to get air nos and get your car up to like top speed basically. And you don't have to go way up here on this jump. This jump takes a lot of time to go up there, and you can just go around as fast too. But if you notice, there's a staircase right there, and you can hit that and it's a straight shot to the next checkpoint. So I think that's probably the move right there, is to hit that staircase. All right, this section's a little bit tricky. You kind of want to go at an angle to the left and go through the gas station and go on the left side of that pump thing. Go ahead and hit the right embankment and just use a little bit of air nos when you go up. That seemed to be the fastest for me. When you get down here to the bottom of the hill, 70%, go ahead and cut the corner. I didn't do it very clean at all, but you know, you can clean it up on your run. For this section, it's super bumpy. Just try to keep the car under control. Use some nos, and you can actually go pretty wide to this right. I found this side of this path to be much better. If you just hit this jump, use a little air nos, and then kind of keep it to the right. Even if you know, hit this wall a little bit and just stay straight on the right side of these trees, it just feels like it's a lot more calm right there, and it allows you to get through that section a little faster. Then at 84, you're going to cut straight across this little you know, sidewalk or whatever. And finally, this last part, I didn't take the jump. I just went through the tunnel here and used nos to get to the finish line. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called Street Stew, and this is with the Beehive Edition. I talked about this one actually in my most recent money guide. This is one of the events that you can make some decent money on when it's boosted. So for this one though, if you're trying to optimize your time completely, I go to the left of this ramp. You don't really need to use the ramp because you're not going to use air nos in it anyway. It's just not far enough into the race to have a lot of it. Cut through the houses, get back on the road. Right here at 22%, you're going to make a right. And then there's a jump right here. You're going to take it and angle yourself to the left. Your goal is to make it on the left side of this tree right here, but not super far left, because there is a car right there. So you want to just go right in between the car and the tree. Always use air nos when you get the chance. On this, I would slow down a lot and go on the right side of this tree here. You don't have to go directly to the flare. You can go kind of pretend it's a checkpoint. You can kind of go somewhere around it. And you're just following this road down here. You're going to go to this flare. And then when you pass that flare at 50%, you're going to make sure you cut to the right and jump through the building, just like you do in the playlist. Use some air nos, And then again, you're kind of just following where the flare patterns are. Nothing tricky here. Follow along, flare, keep going straight. Now this green sign that's right here above, this is your cue to turn left. And then you have another green sign right here above. And that means that you're going to turn on the next street. So that's your next turn is right here. This house with the porch to it right here. You can cut across the grass and then cut to the right on the next street where the flare is. You're going to go left at the fork here, go across the grass by this truck. This is my visual cue. It's kind of easy to pick this truck out while you're driving. You can kind of see this off to the side. So that's where you want to head, just to the left of the truck, and use some NOS through this section. NOS to the finish, and you're good to go. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called Street Stew. I think I said Street Stew on the last event. If I did, I made a mistake. It's actually, the previous event was free lunch. This one is Street Stew. And this one, you're back in the M3, but this is your custom version. It's not a loaned vehicle. So make sure you put your Nitrochemist and your Pure and Extra Pump on this particular car. All right, there's not a lot of trickiness to this, but I will talk about some of the things that helped me, and that is my NOS management. I use NOS in very specific spots during this race, which is right there. And this particular turn happens to be a little bit faster than you think. I would slow down a lot for this corner, and you can cut across here at about 30 seconds into the race, then slow down. Let me go back. I'm talking too fast and this is not going to work here. Let's see this. Okay, so after this turn by the pool, you're going to cut across. You have a couple of visual cues, which is this parking, cover here. Stay to the left of that. Look at the checkpoint. You're going straight to the checkpoint. Then when you get out of here, you're going to double downshift and stay on the sidewalk. Stay tight to this house. I even drifted a little. You shouldn't. Then again, you can cut through these, through the yard there. And then double downshift to third for this corner. You want to take it as smoothly as possible. That's a corner you lose a lot of speed on. On the next corner, which is actually going underneath this building, I just kind of lined it up to the right and then went into third and drifted into the wall. You get a little wall bounce and it works really, really well. Then you just need to control your speed. Here, you don't have to follow around the outside. You can actually cut to the right and cut some time off right there as well. Again, you're looking for the left side of that checkpoint. When you get to this next corner, I leave it in a high gear. I left it in fifth and I brake, go across the grass, nice and controlled. Then go ahead and start to accelerate again. I dropped it into fourth to accelerate. And then that's kind of the lap, I think. You go around here and NOS, and yeah, the finish line is right here. So you're on lap number 2. That's it. All right, let's move on. All right, the next race is called Racing for Freedom, and this is in the M3 again. This one was maybe my favorite race out of the entire summit. There's just so much going on in terms of like pathway and shortcuts. It starts right here at 3%. Like you literally start and just drive off road. I'm doing this to get away from these guys and to make sure I get out in front in order to take this shortcut. You notice the road kind of winds around down. You don't have to do any of that. You just drive straight off this sidewalk and just follow this sidewalk all the way down. So it'll be going down this way. Just using NOS in the air, going down the sidewalk, literally straight down, and then you're back on the road here, and you're on your way. Now, obviously, you're going to turn here when you get to the flare. So, slow it down and turn. And the next cut is not that obvious, and it's kind of tricky. So, when you get to here, you're going to see some trees and this water tank, or whatever this is, this liquid tank. You're going to cut to the left right after that. So, it's going to be like this. Into the little gutter, and then sort of go farther left than you think because the car is going to be shoved right, and use some NOS in the air to jump up. It gives you a nice little pathway to this next flare. Now remember when I said you should hit those stairs? Well, on this particular attempt, I do hit the stairs. You hit the stairs here for some air NOS, and then you're going to keep going straight. Your visual cue is this tent right here. You're going to stay to the left of that. Football field, up the stairs. Use air nos to make it up to this one. You don't want to make it halfway and then hit these stairs. You're going to waste a lot of time. So make sure you have enough speed and enough air nos to get you all the way up on top of here. And then the second you land, you need to brake and downshift because you don't want to get out of control for this section here. You want to be nice and controlled going through this rocky section. All right, let's fast forward a little bit. This one's just along the coast here. Nothing tricky here. Nothing tricky here. You're going to continue on down this road, and you'll notice the flare is over there on the left. You're going to cut to the left at this dirt section. Get yourself into the, you know, little embankment here, or what is this called? The drain, I guess. When you get close to this, I recommend slowing down and downshifting and aiming to the left because you don't want to fly into that hill. That could be done faster. I could definitely save some time there. I was just trying to do it cautiously because I didn't want to, you know, completely fail. Anyways, you stay on this road here. It's going to curve around. I used the sidewalk there as like a little gutter. I did it again here a little bit. Stay right. And then you're going to cut left here. And it's important that you cut that corner just like that. It's important that you go across this grass a little bit. If you stay wide and you don't go on the sidewalk, you have to slow down a lot so you don't hit these cars. But basically, you want to go... Here, we'll show it again. As tight to the house as possible. Get yourself in this parking lot. And then to the right. And when you get to here, you're just going to be going straight towards the flare. And cut it right sort of early so that you can stay on the road as much as possible. And you're good to go. All right, let's move on. All right, the next event is called Too Many Cooks. Again, we're in the M3. And this one I probably had the most difficult time with. There's not a lot I can tell you in terms of like really chopping off a lot of time. Rhino got me by like 4 or 5 seconds on this race. So I'm just kind of, I don't know, I was a little bit flustered in terms of like trying to figure out everything. Anyways, let's just fast forward to some of the cuts that I did make. Here at 18, I kind of go left a little and then I go back right. I just use that little bit of off-road. Now right here, I cut the corner. I slow down to cut the corner. Stay on the road here. This is important for your speed and momentum. When you hit this, you want to have almost a full tank of NOS and you want to shift into 6th like as soon as you can when you get to the stairs. Watch my gears. Into 6th and use lots of NOS. I used half a tank on that one. Now I also would keep it in 6th here because this is a like really bumpy little grass area, and cut to the right. 6th actually keeps the car sort of calmed down. Obviously, you're gonna have to make this turn as well. I cut the corner a little. And the same thing on this left-hander. Cut the corner just a little bit here. So slow down, make sure you get the checkpoint. Cut the corner. And then there's a tricky little, what do you call this? Like drop off here. So I go down here and then brake and double downshift. It's important that you go this path and not to the right more. To the right, there's like a little, you know, curb here, wall. You're just going to run right straight into it. So don't do that. Make sure you go around it. All right, after this jump, you're going to go ahead and cut this corner as well. At about 64%, you're going to cut to the left as well. Cross the curbs. I drifted way too much there. Did not mean to do that. And then right here at this turn at 71, you're going to cut the corner. Use a little bit of NOS on this jump, not a lot. And then use a lot of NOS on this one. At least about a quarter to half. And then you'll cut this corner as well. You're going to have to slow down a little bit to make that corner. It's not like this most smooth corner there. You're going to cut the next corner as well. Go cut across this one. I didn't cut it enough. I should have cut that way harder. I could have taken it way faster. And that's about it. You're on your way to the finish. Use some NOS when you hit this jump. You're good to go. All right. Let's move on. All right, the last event is called Free as a Monkey, and this one's using the Beehive Edition. And this is another one of those free races. So you go from flare to flare. I really enjoyed this one as well. In fact, all the free races I really enjoy because I love experimenting and finding the correct path. In this case, you have 2 options. I would stay right. It's about a second faster. When you get through the tunnel, stay on the right side of the road because you're going to need to cut left. And your visual cue is these 3 palm trees right here, right in front of this big tree right here. That's when you're going to cut over. So you cut over after the second palm tree, go through this grass area here and stay to the left. There you go. And then across the corner here, it's surprisingly stable in those bushes there. And then you're at the flare there. Now you're just going to continue on down this road, and you're going to make a right when you get to this structure here where the road with the flare is on. Go ahead and nos through that. Go up to the next road, make a right. You notice the next flare is there. I didn't mean to drift this corner at all. Make a right here for the next flare, and then you're going to take this jump sort of at an angle to the left. Notice it's just angled a little bit. Use a lot of air nos to make sure you don't land on the wall. Continue on this road. Just stay straight until you see this bend in the road here. You're going to see a couple of palm trees. You're going to go off-road after the palm trees. So you see the 2 palm trees? After the palm trees, go in between these 2 big trees on the left side of this big tree, and then continue on down the road. There's your flare. Now, when you get here, it's really just staying on this road. So let me just fast forward here. Stay on this road, and then you'll see the next flare there. You can go back up the road. And at this point, you'll have some oncoming. If you do it fast enough, you'll have some oncoming traffic. Hopefully it's not too many. I only had to deal with 1 car, but sometimes there's like 2 or 3 cars that are taking this path, so just be careful. Anyways, control yourself going around here. There's nothing tricky here. You're basically just following the road around, following it around. Stay on this road, and when you get to the bottom of this road, you're actually going to go straight through this opening, and you need to slow down a lot. Like, I was already braking and downshifting before I got here. You can go straight out here, make a right, get back on the road, and you're good to go. This is just a straight shot from here to the finish line. So that's it. All right, let's move on. All right, the first long jump with the M3 is, there's nothing really that tricky. You're just gonna back up and go as fast as you can. If you have a slipstream partner, that would make it even better. But this is basically it. Just try to go as fast as you can here and nos in the air. I'll show you my air tactic here. You get close. Notice I still have a full tank of nos as I'm getting to the jump. That's what you want to do. So then blast your nos and point the car upward. And that's kind of how you get the farthest you possibly can get. All right, for the speed trap, I want you to understand that I did not take the time. I looked around, but I could not find the place where you could jump off of and get an insanely fast score. So I don't have that for you. What I do have for you is a couple of recommendations. Number 1, you should be using a part set with Nitrochemist with Pure and Frenetic for the speed trap. That's number 1. If you don't have that, make sure you re-roll your existing parts to have Pure and Frenetic. Those are going to help you a lot. On top of that, the path that I took was to the right of the speed trap, and I went across the bridge and down the hill. This is just like going downhill. You get an extra couple of miles per hour. So you go back this way, across the bridge, turn around, and then start your journey towards the speed trap. And when you get close, notice I'm about to hit this final turn. I have a full tank of nos. That's what you should be doing. So here, nos, and I went to 20. Well, this one was 200. I did it again exactly the same and got 202, but I guess I didn't record it. So that's basically what you want to do. That gives you a total of 128. You'll get another 1,000 or so if you do 202. You get like, I don't know, 1,500 more. So anyways, that is it. If something changes, like if the community finds a place to jump off of, they will probably do that. If they do, I'll make sure I'm paying attention, and I'll put a short out, and I'll link it in the comments of this video. So the pinned comment will have a link to the speed trap if you are really interested in making sure you maximize your speed. All right, and finally, the second jump. So on this one, you actually should go up this tunnel and get a little bit more speed. But here's what you basically do. You go at it as fast as you possibly can. Make sure you have a full tank of nos by the time you hit the ramp. But when you hit the ramp, you're gonna need to go at more of an angle than this. See this part over here on the right side? Basically, this is lower, which means you will get to fly farther before you hit the ground. So go at more of an angle to the right. You're gonna want to jump over this bridge and land somewhere over there. I landed right at the bridge because I jumped at this angle, but if you go to the right a little, you'll fly over the bridge and then you'll get the maximum points. So even though this is already like I think it's 156. Yeah, so it's still a lot of points, but if you're looking for max, make sure you go to the right a little. All right, here are my final scores. If you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to send me a DM on Instagram or Discord. I read every single message that comes my way, and it might take me a little bit to get back to you, but I definitely reply to everyone. So don't hesitate. I'll help you out. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope this helps, and I will catch you on the next one. Trigger out.